1983 Crash and turning the NES in America and the Famicom in Japan into huge successes. It also launched one of the biggest franchises in gaming history. To quickly release a sequel, Nintendo took a game called Yume Kojo, Doki Doki Panic, replaced the original characters with Mario and his friends, made a few small changes, and released it as Super Mario Bros. 2 in 1988. It was completely different from the original. The story took place in a strange dream world, and instead of Bowser, the villain was an evil frog named Wart. This time, players could choose between 4 characters: Mario, Luigi, Toad, or Princess Toadstool, each with different abilities. It also introduced new enemies, such as Shy Guy and Birdo. Fun fact, in Japan, Super Mario Bros. 2 was a completely different sequel and brutally difficult. Nintendo of America believed Western players would find it too frustrating, so the game stayed in Japan for years and was later released worldwide as Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, now famous as one of the hardest Mario games ever made. Before the game even launched, Super Mario Bros. 3 appeared in the 1989 movie The Wizard. The film was basically a giant ad. But it worked. Fans could not wait. Back in the Mushroom World, Bowser returned and sent his 7 Koopalings to take over the kingdoms. Mario and Luigi defeated them one by one, only to discover Bowser had kidnapped the princess again. The gameplay evolved in a big way, adding new moves, a world map, and iconic suits like the Super Leaf and Tanuki suit that changed how players explored each level. While the previous game had been rushed, this one was a true passion project directed by the legend himself. Super Mario Bros. 3 became a massive hit, selling 18 million copies. It is widely considered one of the best games ever released for the NES, with one reviewer calling it the Mona Lisa of gaming. Fun fact, the Chain Chomp was inspired by a childhood moment in Miyamoto's life when a dog tried to attack him but was pulled away just before it could bite him. In 1989, Nintendo launched the Game Boy, and Mario came along for the ride. Super Mario Land was created to promote the new handheld. This time, development was led by Gunpei Yokoi, the inventor of the Game Boy, giving the game a different feel from earlier Mario titles. Mario's first portable adventure took place in Sarasa Land, where an alien named Tatanga kidnapped Princess Daisy, who made her debut in the series. The game introduced the Super Flower, letting Mario shoot projectiles, and hearts that restore health. Despite the small screen, critics were impressed. One magazine called it an arcade machine in your pocket. The game became a huge success, selling over 25 million copies. In 1990, Nintendo launched the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and Mario led the way. The new console debuted with Super Mario World, a huge step forward for the series. Mario and Luigi travel to Dinosaur Land for a vacation with Princess Peach, but Bowser quickly ruins the trip by kidnapping her again. While exploring the island, Mario discovers a strange egg that hatches into a friendly dinosaur named Yoshi, who becomes one of the most iconic companions in gaming. Interestingly, there are cultural differences between the American and Japanese versions of the game, with the American version removing Yoshi's ability to eat dolphins. In Japan, apparently dolphins were still on the menu. The game expanded Mario's world with a large overworld map that let players take different paths and discover secrets. New moves like the spin jump were added, along with the cape feather, which lets Mario fly. And for the first time, Mario could ride Yoshi, who could eat enemies and help clear levels. Multiplayer also allowed 2 players to take turns playing as Mario and Luigi. Super Mario World became one of the most loved games of all time. It was also a huge success, selling over 20 million copies and becoming the best-selling SNES game. Fun fact, in 1995, Super Mario World received a follow-up called Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, a prequel where players control Yoshi while protecting baby Mario and baby Luigi. In 1992, Mario returned to the Game Boy with Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. The adventure was much bigger, adding a world map that let players choose different paths. The real highlight was Wario's debut. While Mario was away, Wario took over Mario Land. To get it back, Mario must defeat 6 bosses and collect 6 golden coins. It also introduced new power-ups, including Bunny Mario, letting Mario glide through the air by flapping his bunny ears. Fun fact, in 1994, Wario returned in Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3, his first game as the main character, launching the Wario Land series. Interestingly, his name comes from the Japanese word warui, meaning bad, combined with Mario, essentially making him Bad Mario.
It's me, Mario!
In 1996, Mario made his biggest leap yet, stepping into the third dimension with Super Mario 64. Shigeru Miyamoto had dreamed of a 3D Mario for years, but the Nintendo 64 finally made it possible. Its controller introduced an analog stick that allowed smooth movement in 3D space, something players had never experienced before. The result? Changed platform games forever. The story begins with Princess Peach inviting Mario to her castle for cake. When he arrives, he discovers that Bowser has taken over and trapped Peach inside the castle. The castle now serves as a hub world, filled with magical paintings that lead to different worlds. To rescue Peach, Mario must explore these worlds and collect enough Power Stars to challenge Bowser. For the first time, players could freely explore large 3D environments. Mario also gained many new moves, including the long jump, wall kick, backflip, and ground pound, giving players more freedom than ever before. Special caps were another new addition, allowing Mario to fly through the sky, walk underwater, or pass through certain walls. And it also introduced Mario's true enemy, the camera. Nevertheless, the game was a massive success, selling nearly 12 million copies and becoming the best-selling game on the Nintendo 64. Critics loved it too, earning an impressive 94 on Metacritic. Today, it is widely considered one of the most influential video games ever made.
Super Mario Sunshine! Woohoo!
After Super Mario 64, fans waited 6 years for the next big adventure. Nintendo first explored ideas like Super Mario 64 2 and Super Mario 128, but eventually chose a very different direction. In 2002, Mario arrived on the GameCube with Super Mario Sunshine. The story takes place on the tropical Isle Delfino, where Mario is blamed for covering the island in paint. To clear his name, he must clean up the mess and recover missing Shine Sprites. To do this, Mario uses a new device called Flood, a water-powered backpack that lets him spray enemies and hover through the air. Mario goes from plumber to the island's janitor. The game also introduced several important characters, including Bowser Jr., who appears as the new main enemy, along with Petey Piranha, Toadsworth, and the mysterious Shadow Mario. Critics praised the colorful world and clever puzzles, giving the game a strong 92 on Metacritic. Fun fact, early in development, Nintendo planned a multiplayer mode where players would spread paint around the island instead of cleaning it. The idea was dropped, but it later inspired the Splatoon series. Turns out, making the mess was more fun than cleaning it. In 2006, Mario returned to his 2D roots with New Super Mario Bros. On the Nintendo DS. The adventure spans 8 worlds, filled with secrets, fortresses, and castles, and of course,